So now that you know that we can use the destination, we can filter it. Here we got the flight read model list, right? So this is what we want to return, and we simply go ahead and select all. So before we now start selecting all, let me just get that into the next line. Right before this, we go to entities flights. So now we are inside of our table. Now we let the first filter happen. And before we take anything, we want to go ahead and say, we only want that flights where the flight goes to flight arrival dot place b equals to at params dot destination, right? So that makes sense, I guess. So my destination where I want to go is the arrival place of the flight. So if I say Paris, he will now go ahead and search here for the arrival place Paris, and then select all the elements or all the flights with the arrival place set to Paris. That can be one element or that can be 100 elements, right? Awesome. So let me save this and let me show you that in action. So now let me write down here Paris and hit on the search button, and you can see that we have one flight, right? And it goes to Paris. That's fine. Let me remove Paris here and let me hit the filter button again, and you can see that we have no information anymore. And if you take a look at the code, that totally makes sense because we are always filtering for destination, even if we have none. So in the end, we need to adjust this because users expect to see all flights when they don't pass any parameters, right? So now we go ahead and really write down a nice looking filter algorithm. So let's first of all go ahead. We got our flight read model list here. We need to adjust that a little bit. So first of all, let's start separating our flights. For now, we go ahead and do this here. Var flights equals to entities dot flights. So you might guess, or you might know now, that these are all the flights from our database, right? So flights are all the flights. You can definitely write that down if you like. Great, let's move on. We now go ahead and remove the filter. So these where condition here, let me just grab that. I will keep that below just untouched. So we say flights is equals to take the whole list or queryable or whatever, take the whole element and filter it by flights. There we go, flights.where. So exactly the same as it was before, like this. Now you can see that this is not working, right? So it's underlined. We need to go ahead and change one line of code here. The flights that we have here, entities flights, right? They are of type dbset, but we need them to be of type, I want to write that down here, queryable of type flights. So, and by doing this, you can see, of type flight, there you go. You can see that the arrow here is disappearing, right? Because it's of type queryable, and we can go ahead and run queries on it. And where, for example, is a query. So that's nice. So the flights here will be filtered by the destination. So far, we haven't achieved anything new because what we want to do is we only want to filter for a destination if we have a destination. So if only the user provides a destination, we want to filter for destination. That totally makes sense, right? So if the string is not null or white spaces at params.destination, right? Then we want to go ahead and use that filter. So we check, do we have a destination? And if so, we go ahead and run. So make sure that this is like, if not null or white space, right? So what we do is we take all the flights from the database and we convert them into a queryable object, right? So that we can run queries on it. Then we check if we have a destination, and if we have it, we go ahead, take all the flights and filter them by the destination. What we should do instead of filtering by exactly the same string name, so if the place is equals to Paris, we should go ahead and write that a little bit in a different way, because you know, if you search for P, for example, instead of Paris, just for P, you maybe want to get all the information about the flights with the destination that include a P. So let's do F arrival place, where arrival place, and now let's go ahead, dot contains. So simple string stuff going on here, contains param destination. So if the place, let's say the place is, for example, Paris, that's absolutely no problem, and we write down Aris, then that flight will show up. Right now it's case sensitive. If you want to go ahead, you can do that, write down to lower, destination to lower, and then you have it without case sensitivity, right? Now I want to show you the definition again. Hover over contains and read it. returns a value indicating whether a specified substring occurs in the string, right? So as I said, if we write down Eris, he will find a destination with the arrival place set, or he will find a flight with the arrival place set to Paris, because Paris contains the substring Eris. Okay, so before we try that out now, we go ahead and take the flights which we have filtered, and instead of taking the flight read model, all entities from the flights list again, we now remove the where condition here first of all, right? And then simply take flights. There we go. So flights dot select, and then we build that flight read model here. So go ahead and make sure that you have this now covered. Flight read model list equals to flights, our filtered iQueryable here, and we're gonna select all elements because we have already filtered and built out flight read models from there. Now that done, go ahead, start the application. Awesome, so let's go ahead and start searching without entering any destination. So we can find everything. Let's search for Paris, right? Search filter, we can find one flight. Let me remove everything again. We can again see every flight, right? And now let me search for Eris, right? Should be working, great. Let me search for Is. You should come up with an additional one, Istanbul, right? Because it contains our destination, which is Is. Awesome. So, and this principle you can now use to complete, well, the whole filter. So from date to date and all of this. For sure, we will do this in the next video.